Welcome back to the Path to Happiness, an introduction to the unification principle. I'm your host, Dr. Tyler Hendricks. We see that the unification principle integrates the principles of creation, the tragedy of the human fall, the development of human faith and love through history, as well as science and economy, into one overarching ideal of true love and true families. But how does all this make its way into the 21st century? Social media, terrorism, gay marriage, healthcare crisis, environmental crisis. What is God's plan today? We'll find our way there by looking at the last 400 years of history. According to the parallels, the period of preparation for the second advent of the Messiah covers a period of 400 years, extending from the time of Martin Luther's Reformation, beginning in 1517, until the First World War and the effort to build the League of Nations. Human history is the providence of restoration. Its purpose is to lay the foundation to receive the Messiah. This foundation signifies the process of separating from Satan's love, which is selfish love. This process begins with dividing myself into Abel on the heavenly side of true love and Cain on the satanic side of false love, and then setting up the conditions wherein Abel can bring Cain to want to change. Thus, human history is a process of separating good and evil, in which the Abel side must overcome the Cain side. It comes down to a struggle between good and evil, beginning in myself, extending to my family, my country, my religion, all the way to the world level. God divides good and evil and establishes the conditions wherein the good side can naturally win over the evil side through sacrificial love. We look at the struggle between Abraham's tribe and the neighboring tribes, or Moses' struggle between the Hebrews and the oppressive nation, or Jesus' struggle between the Jews and the oppressive empire. Central figures in each age made conditions through which the chosen people, chosen to sacrifice, could unite and win over the larger environment of Satan's domain. The dynamics began with Abel and Cain, whose traits and motives keep getting repeated on larger and larger levels. So we refer to these dynamics as Abel type and Cain type. This condition between the Abel type and the Cain type appears internally in the form of religion or ideology, as a struggle between Abel type and Cain type worldviews, and externally as wars between Abel type and Cain type forces. Now, God is not going to send His only begotten Son to an unprepared and violent world. He's going to prepare the environment first into an environment in which His Son can grow to achieve God's ideal. In Jesus' time, we see this as God's plan to establish the internal foundation, which we call Hebraism, centering upon the Jewish religion, and the external foundation, which we call Hellenism, centering upon the Greco-Roman civilization. First, God established the religious environment, both domestically and internationally, centered upon Judaism. The Jews, returning from Babylon, rebuilt the temple, rebuilt the city walls under the prophets Ezra and Nehemiah and in Malachi. And the Israelites repented for their worshiping foreign idols and began to study and compile the law, along with the entire Old Testament scriptures, thus bringing about a revival of Jewish faith and practice. Thereby they restored the foundation of faith. The Jews, having been dominated by many imperial powers, longed for the restoration of God's nation and looked forward with great expectation to the Messiah's advent as the central figure to build that nation. In the midst of such expectation, Jesus appeared. Along with such a domestic religious revival, spiritual preparation necessary to receive the Messiah took place around the world, beginning from around 500 years before Christ, an era that social historian Karl Jaspers branded the Axial Age. God advanced Indian religion by forging the new path of Buddhism, centered upon Shakyamuni. In Greece, Hellenistic culture developed centered upon Socrates. And in Asia, Zoroastrianism arose, centered on Zoroaster, and Confucianism developed as a system of ethics and morals, centered upon Confucius. In this way, these all happened at the same time in world history. And in other ways, other developments, God established religions suitable to the cultures in each area of the globe. Jesus appeared upon this prepared foundation with God's intention of unifying all these cultural spheres centered upon the one true God through the true parents, who would have engrafted Judaism and incorporated Hellenistic civilization, and then expanded to Buddhism, Confucianism, and all other religions. An immense cultural sphere centered upon the Greek language connected the globe via a prosperous economy and well-organized legal system established under the Greco-Roman Empire, the Pax Romana. This foundation was established so that once Jesus had gathered Jerusalem under his wing, he could advance to Rome and then expand the scope of the messianic message and mission to the world centered upon Rome. In the same way, God has established the religious, political, and cultural environment for Jesus' return. The Cain-type worldview began in the 14th century as a Renaissance, a revival of Hellenism, with Italy leading the way. This was a revival of ancient Greek humanism and ultimately led to movements of reform, reforming medieval society as a whole and the Catholic Church, which had been suppressing the external values of original human nature. This movement eventually affected science, politics, economics, and religion. It set off a historical trajectory based upon humanism, which seeks to fulfill the external desires of human nature. The Abel-type worldview was established through the Reformation in an effort to restore the internal aspects of the original nature, which also were suppressed by the Catholic Church. How did it prevail? In 1517, Pope Leo X authorized a sale of indulgences in order to gather funds for the construction of St. Peter's Cathedral. Martin Luther, a monk and professor at the University of Wittenberg in Germany, questioned this. The leadership of northern Germany supported his rebellion against the church, and this spark of revolution was spread by John Calvin and Ulrich Zwingli and their followers to France, Switzerland, England, and the Netherlands. This led to the outbreak of international war between Catholics and Protestants, which lasted for 100 years and was eventually settled at the Treaty of Westphalia in 1648. As a result, Europe divided between Protestant and Catholic, with the principle that each country's monarch could decide that country's religion. The Reformation and Renaissance was the first stage, which led to the Enlightenment and the Awakenings. We'll talk about the Enlightenment first. The Renaissance, as a restoration of Hellenistic ideology, which originates in the Cain-type worldview, evolved into the Enlightenment and became increasingly humanistic and anti- or a-religious. The Enlightenment thinkers, relying upon empirical analysis and rational criticism, founded upon reason and experience, began to reevaluate the relationship between human beings and nature. This led them to separate nature and man from God. René Descartes and Francis Bacon gave birth to the philosophies of rationalism and empiricism. This trend expanded across Europe and inspired atheistic and materialistic philosophy, propounded by people such as Hume, Hobbes, Locke, and Spinoza. The French philosophers Voltaire, Diderot, D'Alembert attacked the church and inspired the French Revolution in 1789. This was a movement that sought to throw off the yoke of absolute monarchy in the name of democratic values such as freedom, equality, and fraternity, based upon pure reason. This was a Cain-type democracy that eliminated God. Following the Enlightenment, the Cain-type worldview evolved to its third stage with the emergence of left-wing thought. Materialists overturned Hegel's dialectical idealism and established dialectical materialism to support what became communist ideology, the dictatorship of the party. David Strauss began to criticize the miracles of the Bible as deceptions, while Ludwig Feuerbach claimed in The Essence of Christianity that religion is the product of socio-economic conditions. Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels advocated class struggle and violent revolution in pursuit of the ideal society. They said this is the law of history, and thereby perfected the Cain-type worldview that manifested in various so-called democratic people's republics, the communist bloc of the 20th century. However, even in the midst of this confusion and turmoil brought about by humanism and materialistic communism, those who maintained the Reformation's legacy grew strong. They expressed religious passion and sought the inner life. They placed value upon transcendental experience in seeking the direct meeting with God rather than the external forms of religion. Among those who pursued this were the Puritans, who experienced religious persecution under England's absolute monarchy, crossed the Atlantic to the New World of America in search of the freedom to exercise their faith, and by 1783 won the American War of Independence. They established a democracy founded upon Christian principles. Unlike the French Revolution, the American Revolution was fought centered upon a God-centered, Abel-type worldview in order to secure religious freedom. Therefore, we call it an Abel-type democracy. This religious faith and freedom is the foundation of all modern freedoms in politics and economy. Other Abel-type trends included Germany's Philip Spener, who advocated pietism, which was conservative and placed emphasis upon mystical experience. Germany's Conrad Grebel and Felix Manz pioneered the Baptist churches at the cost of their lives. England's John Wesley founded the Methodist denomination. George Fox started the Quaker movement, which emphasized the mystical oneness between man and Christ that comes through the Holy Spirit. Emanuel Swedenborg was a scientist who revealed much information concerning the spirit world. The Renaissance, which was a revival of Hellenism, led to humanism and the Enlightenment, the materialistic wing of which brought unleashed violence and the use of force to try to reform society. At the same time, the revival of Hebraism in the Reformation and Awakenings led the masses to long for God's nation and the returning Lord, while emphasizing direct personal experience of Christ, study of the Bible, and freedom of the church. The culmination of the struggle between the Cain and Abel type worldviews erupted externally as the First and Second World Wars. Ideologically, the First World War was a struggle between the Cain-type nations of Germany, Austria, and Turkey, all of which suppressed freedom of religion, and the Abel-type nations of England, America, and France, all of which allowed freedom of religion. Shortly thereafter, another struggle broke out between the Allies, led by America, England, and France on the Abel side, and the Axis powers, led by Germany, Italy, and Japan on the Cain side. This was the Second World War. In modern times, the world has advanced through politics, economics, culture, and science to create today's contemporary environment. The purpose of it all is everlasting: to receive the Messiah, Jesus, the Lord of the Second Advent. This is the achievement of the democratic political sphere based upon freedom of religion, which has spread across the globe at the time of the Second Advent. The Lord at His return will work with this democratic foundation rooted in Christian values to share heaven's will with the entire world. And so rapid progress in transportation and communications due to scientific and economic development has significantly reduced the gap between East and West and allowed languages and cultures to exchange globally. Thus, an environment has been established in which the Lord can rapidly expand the reach of His message and His love. This period in which the environment necessary to receive the Lord of the Second Advent is established is known as the period of preparation for the Messiah. Through it, we can once again glimpse the heart of God, who is our true parent. Just as a child's parents begin to prepare an environment conducive to the child's growth, even before the child is born, the true parent of humanity must have sent His Son into a prepared world with a heart full of hope and anticipation. Christians believe that the Second Advent will bring about the last days and the end of history. As the most significant event in history, it is a great transitional period, including great turmoil and confusion, a great and terrible day. It will be a time in which catastrophes strike like bolts out of the blue. It is the time in which the final battle between good and evil is fought in order to prepare to meet the Lord of the Second Advent, resulting in good finally overcoming evil and the happiness the world has been long waiting for. This process will occur at the end of the period of preparation for the Lord's return over the course of not just 2, but 3 world wars. By knowing the principle, we can navigate these waters and help the time of salvation come soon. Our next sessions will make this very clear. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
The biggest struggles that we have here, we in the world, these the last days of struggles and the beginning of world of peace. So you are the pioneers of the new world. Happy welcome you questions. Yeah, Gibson, you usually have great smart questions. Please ask you question or proposal or what you like about the presentation. Yeah,
As always,
yeah.
yeah, thank you very much. And the presentation on the unification principle was really, really good. And to be honest, I've learned a lot of principles in this unification principle. I've learned a lot. However, I have just two questions in relation to the presentation. According to the presenter, he did say that the unification principle gained prominence with the emergence of social media. Now, I would like to know, has this social media contributed more good than harm in ensuring everlasting peace? That is one question. And the second question, most of the presentation, especially on this last session that has to do with unification principle, were connected to what he called false love. So I want to know the root cause of this false love. Where is this false love is coming from? What is it about, and where is it deep rooted from? Thank you very much. I'm waiting for my certificate for 2025.
Okay, Gibson, thank you very much. Yes, that's so good to hear from you. Okay, first question was about the social media. So, like I understand, the question was, is social media good or not? So,
Exactly.
yes, Gibson, you ask about
Yes,
the social
exactly.
media is good or not, something like this. Yeah, anyhow, let me, anyhow, I'm also researching not just the history, but all the, because I'm building global peace last 27 years. I research everything and also the development of humanity. I wrote all my this in my 13 books, and the 13 one I sent to all you presidents and prime ministers. So the social media, from my research, is a tool of God. You know, till now there was impossible to find the sins. Um, People were sitting around and like, for example, corruption or anything like killing and others. But God advanced this time that we are living right now in the Messiah Coming time, just for one reason, that there will not be any sin. So therefore, if there anybody make any sin, they kill someone or steal something or have love out of marriage, right there, tomorrow already they on social media, and everything, um, everything what people are making nowadays, good or bad, remain in social media and also in the internet for 1,000 years ahead. So of course the social media is like a field. You know, what you sow, that will have the rape in the crops. But if you put evil, will make evil, multiply evil. But basically, wanted or not, that we go to this world of total transparency without any traces of sin, just with goodness. So that you know, our descendants will either like us or curse us uh, based on our deeds, what we did. For example, they say, okay, you are Stephen from Uganda. You meet Messiah Sanghaming in your time. So what you are doing over there? Did you witness about Messiah Sanghaming? So this is all about social media. And second question was, Gibson, what was second question?
Yes, the second about love, false love.
Okay, the root of false love. Okay, the root of false love is love. I call it love out of marriage, and this is love that, as we understand from the history, actually, you said about like how you could explain for the non-believers about principles of peace, but scientists find out already that all human beings, black and white and all other colors, by genome, came from one woman who was in Africa. So we even scientifically understand that all humankind came from Eve. In the Bible, they call Eve. And from Adam and Eve, they received love not from God, but from Satan. And this was the root of problem. And you see, this love out of marriage is the biggest problem ever. And this, even you see that those presidents, for example, were divorced 2 or 3 times, they became presidents. So they argue with 2 or 3 wives, and all of these struggles they bring to their country. So you understand the root of sin. This is love out of marriage. Is that root of egoistic love, just to receive love for themselves and to collect this love from like out of marriage somewhere somehow. But this is the good question. The most important question is the second blessing that we find out there in the divine principle is marriage blessing. That once you get married, you are together with your wife and get you develop your life, you love all your life, and by receiving the Messiah's incoming marriage blessing, you could get rid of this root of sin of love, false love. Yeah, thank you very much, Gibson. You asked good question about the certificate. Please chat me in WhatsApp. I will reply you about those who need certificate, because not everybody want certificate, but everyone who want, I will provide. Okay, Dr. Sunday, please open your microphone and say a few words about the presentation and anything what you want to say about peace. Go, Stanley, Vincent, Stephen, Edith, Psycho, long time. Nelson, maybe you want to say a few words. I know in Australia is almost 3 a.m. So all Australia sleep. Just you pray for Australia right now. So Australia have a hope. Gibson. Yeah, please turn on the microphone. Who have? Yeah, peace is like oxygen. Yeah, thank you very much, Nelson. Yeah, it's like oxygen. That's true love. Okay, let's call for questions, and just what you get, please turn on your microphone. Sunday, what you understand from the presentation? Please turn on microphone. Say a few words. Just words. What you get it? Sunday? Oh, you came late a bit. Maybe you have some questions? Okay, Stanley have. Yeah, Stanley said that was great presentation with fantastic historic analysis. Yeah, we're supposed to understand the history. You see that the main idea about the last presentation was to show the parallel between the Jesus time, 1,000 years ago, and nowadays, as we're living in Messiah's incoming time. So God prepared everything for Jesus. There was a problem that the people in that time killed Jesus. But therefore he said he will come second time, and now God prepare everything, technology, transportation, everything. So this is the most important to understand, that we are living in the historical time. God is great, God is living the history, and you want it or not, we will go to world of peace, but we will go by 2027, where we'll suffer, or we'll pass all historical suffers to our children, that they will build this world of peace further 2000 years plus. It's up to you. Therefore, I designed this Peace Ambassador Award training to award you and empower you. We have the greatest formula to build substantial peace. As we discussed, the world is divided between 1% of population that have 99% of wealth and power in every country, and 99% of all others. And globally is the same. So unless this 99% of the population, that means you, me and you, not approach to you, presidents and prime ministers and all others, and ask, okay, so there is a roadmap for peace 2027. Nikolai passed to all you presidents the roadmap for peace 2027, and you supposed to ask you presidents how much money they invest for peace, what they make for all others, 99% of population, live in peace. And this is our mechanism. So we award you with the Peace Ambassador Award, that you could award 430 VIPs, local leaders, scientists, from religious priests and all others, education, media, everyone. You award, you build your own team, build substantial strong team, and by this you will grow. By this you could grow, and we give you the most powerful tool ever. For example, we have Nelson, and also we have Gibson from Sierra Leone. He is a great presenter there, media man, but can you go to your president and how you could make a friendship with him and cooperation? Just with our Peace Ambassador Award, that we award even the presidents and prime ministers who receive the award and build substantial peace, to make agreements, 5-year agreements, to work together and build substantial peace with Global Peace Building Network. Okay. Yeah, happy welcome. Let's call one more time. Psycho, long time. Please turn on your microphone and say what you get from the presentation today.
Yes, greetings to each and every one of you.
Welcome. Just
It,
for
it,
everything, what you get. Or questions, thousands of
yeah,
questions.
it was a very nice presentation and we learned a lot. I think now it is our turn to spread the message to our country, to make sure that people know about peace and sensitize the young ones, especially the youth in our societies, to know the importance of peace, because countries cannot develop without peace, and it is important that we always spread the message to the people that we are leading. And starting with our countries, our government too need to be aware about peace. And peace 2024 to 2027 is something which is very important. And I thank all the presenters for giving us that wonderful inside knowledge, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Psycho. So good. Thank you for support. You remember me just with one recent development. In few weeks ago, there was a big disagreement, even revolution in Kenya, because the Kenya government tried to raise up the taxes, and it came like this, like externally, and youth go to the uh, to the revolution, and anyhow. There is two ways, as you understand in God's principles and development history, is two ways, always two ways. One, you could build some special peace in your country by uniting this 1% of population that have 99% of wealth and power with our great peace ambassador awarding to award 430 peace ambassadors, or just let the things go as it's going, and it will be this kind of revolution with many people suffering. You see there was in Kenya, now passed to Uganda, and it may go to another, because unfortunately there is any country in the world that is not corrupted. So therefore the revolutions is automatically coming because everywhere is corruption, and it could be ended either peacefully, either as it now. Therefore came the wars and all of this. So let's build it peacefully. Thank you for support. Yeah, Taiko. Okay, edit. What you get from presentation? Joseph, edit. Only microphone. Say a few words. Now is your time to speak to the world. Happy welcome.
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
Because this is evening this is evening in Nigeria. It's amazing to join this global platform. My heart will plate with immeasurable joy, and I want to thank all the presenters for the impacts they are giving in our life through this message. We have learned a lot of things, how to and how to relate with them, especially when it comes to peace, because there is a lot of things that is happening everywhere. Let me just say everywhere in the world. Here in Nigeria, we are facing a lot, and we cannot survive without peace, without dialogue. So I want also to appeal to this global ambassador that they should just fund us, support us, because we are facing a lot in the country, so that we can be able to communicate the language of peace to all the community in the way that they will have an understanding. Then we have learned a lot, because without peace, we cannot survive. Getting to religion, some of our religious leaders, they have misled us, because of they don't even earn peace. Some of them, they are preaching, how do you call it? They are preaching well. All they are looking for is well. They are not getting in deep inside the knowledge of peace, so that the community can live in peace. Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome, Joseph. Yeah, thank you so very much for support. It's so good input and so good support. So as Jesus said, I came to not be served, but to serve. And here we are. We invite you to this training intensive, just 1 hour in your life. Think about your past and with the future, what you want to be, and we empower you with the Peace Ambassador Award, that you could award 430 plus leaders there where you are, and build your network, global peace building network, and invite all others join together and build it. And just imagine if you have this team with the 400 leaders, local leaders from science, religion, media, all others, politicians, everyone, and you work with them every day, every week, every month, at least one per month. You contact them and see how you could do a project. So you will build for sure your community of peace, and that is all our great empowerment. And our who are in this training in our 1 year intensive, and we are meeting daily and analyzing daily results and planning next day how we to do it better. So anytime contact me and chat me how we could work together and develop together. Okay, we have
Thank you.
we have welcome. We have last call for question. Vincent, please turn on the microphone and say a few words about this presentation.
Thank you, everyone. I'm grateful and happy, elated about this presentation. The presentations so far. The first one talked about the mission of the truth, because there is this saying we have. They say you can't recover except you discover. Therefore, in order to search for the truth, you must go down the history lane. In order to search for this truth, you must go down the history lane. And once you go down this history lane, you equip yourself with the happenings of the past and the present. Then you are set for restoration, which means when I say you can never recover except you discover. So when you discover, you set yourself, your mind, your heart towards recovery. And so this is what I can actually understand the lectures for today, the presentations for today, talking about the search for truth. In order to search for truth, you need to know the history, go down the history lane. And once you have done your job, then you prepare yourself for restoration, which brings about the preparation of the second advent. And this is what I can get from this lecture, and I'm happy. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, welcome, Vincent. You know, this is the most powerful about this presentation because this presentation is based on overwhelming, like all history, searching from the beginning till the end, and from the all points of view: science, religion, economy, psychology, just everything, because you couldn't build the future if you don't understand the history, and most important, that history is led by God, and if it's led by God, so there will be absolutely the good end, the world of peace will be done. Not just believe, we don't build how to say peace castles on the clouds. We build substantial peace right now, right here, and therefore we're supposed to understand the history. Otherwise, you see that people they see just simple one part of history or another. Hitler do like this, that war does like this, another was doing like that, and something like this. So they analyze people from their own perspective, but overall, we're supposed to understand the whole history, how it's going. So happy welcome. Okay, that's all for today. It's good presentation. Every Thursday we will go the presentation. So I am so happy to be together with you. I have thousands to communicate, thousands of good things. Those who need certificate, please chat me WhatsApp. WhatsApp is an invitation, and meet you every day at our events, every evening event, the same time. And just contact me for cooperation, any cooperation, just the same in WhatsApp. So good luck, all the best. See you every day at our meeting. Don't come alone, come with your friends and family, even prime minister and presidents.